This video will be very informative from the perspective of hosting and servers, so switch to 1.5 play speed for better viewing experience.
Are you planning to host your website but still confused because you want something which is affordable as a shared hosting but powerful and controllable as a dedicated server? Well, VPS can help you with that. And if you haven't discovered about VPS yet, so keep watching the video. In the previous video, we have discussed that there are different types of hosting for our servers, and in which we have first clarified about the dedicated server, and we get to know there are many different types of hosting servers that can be used on the basis of our requirement. And in this video, we are going to discuss about the VPS, which is called as a virtual private server. VPS is a combination of two different hosting types, which is a dedicated server and second is a shared hosting. We all understand in a previous video that in a dedicated server, a whole server is specifically and dedicated to a single company or a person for its own personal use, in which no one else can access the space or a storage of the dedicated server. And in a shared hosting, we provide a server to multiple users according to their want and the convenient. But in VPS is a combination of these two server types, in which we give the affordability of a shared hosting and we also provide the control and a power of a dedicated server, which we get as a VPS. In simple word, VPS is like having your own private computer on someone else's powerful computer. It gives you a dedicated space with your own software and files without sharing resources with others. In a simple manner, I can say that this is my dedicated server and I am dividing this server into many pieces, and this pieces is becoming my VPS. Now, how is it even possible? Let's see this diagram to understand the working of VPS. This is my dedicated server, the powerful computer. This server is having its own OS, it is having its own CPU, GPU, RAM, storage, and every single configuration which is required for a server. Now, I am adding one virtualization layer in this dedicated server, which is called as a hypervision, to create a species of this dedicated server. Through this layer, I am able to divide my whole dedicated server into small pieces, which will create my different VPS, and different users of a VPS is having a single computer and they are sharing every single component of this server. But in VPS is having its own OS, it is having its own CPU, GPU, RAM, and a storage, and all the configurations which are required for a server. It works just like a dedicated server, but in reality, it is working as a shared hosting. And the best part about the VPS is if the user too is having its own space, it is the dedicated space of the single user. The other user is not allowed to interfere this into the space of the another user. So this space is dedicated to one person itself. That's why it is a combination of dedicated and a shared hosting. Now let's just break down the component of a VPS to understand the VPS in a better manner. The very first component is a virtualization layer. A virtualization layer is a specific software called as a hypervision that creates a virtual environment within a dedicated server, which allow us to divide this dedicated server into small pieces, and then we are able to provide the shared hosting like services to our VPS user. And then we are having a dedicated resources. Even though a dedicated server is having its own resources like CPU, GPU, RAM, storage, it also provides to the VPS user as well. Each VPS gets its own portion of a physical server resources like GPU, RAM, and the storage, just like a dedicated server. Next, we have the independent OS, which is a really plus point and an advantage in VPS, that even if a dedicated server is using OS, suppose Windows, it allows and gives the flexibility to VPS user to choose their own operating system. Like the user one wants to use Windows, the second user want to use Linux operating system, the third user want to use the Ubuntu. This is really flexible in VPS to choose your own operating system. And this is the advantages of VPS also. The second is the isolation, that your website or application performance isn't going to affect by other users. This is your own dedicated space, and someone else's performance or the traffic won't affect your server services. And in the end, VPS provide the really affordable cost of services by giving you the dedicated server like services. And that's all about the VPS services. Are you looking for the VPS solution with affordable prices? Well, you are at the right place. Our company, RackBank Data Center, provide the best VPS services to our customer starting from $850 monthly. We also provide 7 days free trial and a refundable policy. You can visit our website rackbank.in, where we have given all the pricing plans on our website itself, and along with that, you can also calculate the tailored configuration of your VPS server on our website itself and check out the pricing. Thank you.